Have you ever walked into a store planning to spend nothing and walked out with a brand new phone because it was only 2,999 rupees a month? Not 90,000 rupees, not 1 lakh rupees, just 2,999 rupees. That's the number they want you to remember. Because the moment your brain starts thinking in monthly payments instead of total prices, something strange happens. Expensive starts feeling affordable. Luxury starts feeling reasonable. And before you realize it, you've agreed to pay for something your past self would never have bought. This isn't an accident. It's one of the oldest tricks in modern consumer finance. And once you see it, you'll never look at an EMI the same way again. A few decades ago, buying something expensive was simple. You either had the money, or you didn't. If you wanted a television, a refrigerator, or a motorcycle, you saved for months, or even years. That waiting period acted like a filter. It forced one important question. Do I really need this? Many purchases died during that waiting period. People changed their minds. Priorities shifted. The excitement faded. Money stayed in their pockets. But then something changed. Companies realized that waiting was bad for business. If customers had to save first, many would never buy at all. So instead of reducing prices, they changed the way prices were presented. Suddenly, a 1 rupee 20,000 smartphone wasn't introduced as a 1 rupee 20,000 smartphone. It became just 3,999 rupees per month. The price didn't change. Your perception did. And that small shift changed shopping forever. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called payment framing. Instead of evaluating the total cost, our brains focus on the smaller number. Imagine someone asks you 2 questions. Would you spend 1 rupee 20,000 today? Most people hesitate. Now imagine they ask, can you afford 3,999 rupees every month? The answer suddenly feels different. Because 3,999 rupees doesn't feel like a luxury purchase. It feels like a phone bill. The total disappears. Only the monthly payment remains. Companies know this. Banks know this. Retailers know this. They're not selling products. They're selling comfort. Here's a simple experiment. Imagine a sofa costs 90,000 rupees. If the price tag only says 90,000 rupees, many people walk away. Now replace that tag with only 2,999 rupees per month. Nothing about the sofa changed. Only the math shown to you changed. Yet sales often increase dramatically. Why? Because humans don't naturally calculate long-term costs while making emotional decisions. We calculate immediate pain, and monthly payments reduce that pain. This creates something economists call affordability illusion. Not because the product became cheaper, but because the payment became smaller. Imagine filling a bucket with tiny drops of water. Each drop seems insignificant. But eventually, the bucket overflows. EMIs work the same way. One payment feels manageable. Then another. Then another. Phone. Laptop. Bike. Furniture. Television. Vacation. Every payment seems small. Until one day, half your salary is already spoken for, before the month even begins. Let's look at a realistic example. Rahul earns 60,000 rupees every month. His salary feels comfortable. He buys a phone, 2,999 rupees EMI. A laptop, 2,500 rupees EMI. A bike, 5,800 rupees EMI. Furniture, 2,200 rupees EMI. Now he's paying over 13,000 rupees every month. That doesn't sound disastrous. Until rent arrives. Groceries, fuel, insurance, electricity, unexpected medical expenses. Suddenly, there isn't much left. Rahul isn't poor. He's committed. There's a difference. The real danger isn't one EMI. It's multiple EMIs quietly stacking on top of each other. Banks even have a phrase for this. Fixed monthly obligations. Every obligation reduces your financial flexibility. Imagine receiving a salary increase next year. You should feel richer. Instead, you immediately upgrade your phone, buy a bigger television, replace your bike. Each purchase adds another monthly payment. Your income rises. Your freedom doesn't. This is called lifestyle inflation. And EMIs make it almost invisible. Here's something even more interesting. Businesses rarely advertise total ownership costs. They advertise monthly affordability. Car commercials rarely begin with, this vehicle costs 18 lakh rupees. Instead, they say, drive home today for just 17,999 rupees per month. Apartment advertisements, luxury furniture, premium smartphones, high-end appliances. The same pattern appears again and again, because monthly payments sell dreams. Total prices sell reality. Now let's talk about interest. Not every EMI is expensive. Some genuinely offer 0% financing. Others don't, and that's where things become complicated. Imagine borrowing 1 lakh rupees. At first glance, the monthly payment seems reasonable, but over several years, You may repay far more than you borrowed. The extra amount doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives quietly, 1 month at a time. That's why many people never notice how much interest they've actually paid. Pain spread across 36 months doesn't feel like pain anymore. It feels normal. But here's the twist. Even genuine zero-interest EMIs aren't always free. Sometimes discounts disappear if you choose financing. Sometimes processing fees appear. Sometimes insurance gets bundled into the loan. Sometimes late payment penalties become surprisingly expensive. The financing isn't necessarily dishonest, but it isn't always as simple as the advertisement suggests. Reading the fine print suddenly becomes much more valuable. There's another psychological trick happening. Ownership before payment. Years ago, people paid first, then they enjoyed the product. Today, you enjoy first, you pay later. That sounds wonderful. Until the excitement fades. 6 months later, the phone no longer feels exciting. The television feels ordinary. The sofa has become part of the background. But the EMI still arrives every month. You're paying today's bills for yesterday's excitement. This changes consumer behavior more than most people realize. When paying cash, every purchase hurts. That pain actually protects us. Researchers have found that people generally spend more when the payment feels delayed or less immediate. Credit cards, digital wallets, and installment plans all reduce the feeling of spending in the moment. The easier it feels to pay, the easier it becomes to buy. Convenience has a hidden cost. Now imagine something unexpected happens. You lose your job, a family emergency appears. Your business slows down. Income falls. But your EMIs don't. Banks don't pause, because life became difficult. Monthly obligations continue arriving on schedule. Financial flexibility suddenly becomes one of the most valuable assets you can have. And unfortunately, EMIs slowly reduce that flexibility. This doesn't mean EMIs are bad. Far from it. Some purchases genuinely create value. Education, a home, business equipment, tools that increase future income. These can be intelligent uses of financing. The problem begins when financing is used to justify purchases that wouldn't have happened otherwise. That's an important difference. Borrowing for growth and borrowing for consumption often lead to very different futures. Here's a question worth asking before accepting any EMI. If this option didn't exist, would I still buy this product? If the answer is no, the monthly payment may be creating the decision, not the product itself. That's exactly what payment framing is designed to do. Think about how many advertisements you've seen this week. Cars, phones, furniture, luxury watches, electronics. Notice something. Almost everyone highlights the monthly payment. Very few led with the total price. That's not marketing by coincidence. It's marketing backed by decades of behavioral economics. Companies aren't trying to change the product. They're trying to change the number your brain focuses on. And here's perhaps the biggest irony of all. Many people believe wealth comes from earning more money. But often, financial freedom depends just as much on reducing fixed monthly commitments. Someone earning 50,000 rupees with no EMIs may have more flexibility than someone earning 1 lakh rupees while paying half of it toward loans. Income matters, but freedom matters too. The next time you see a giant banner saying, only 2,999 rupees per month, pause for a second. Ignore the monthly payment. Ask a different question. What is the total cost? That single question changes everything. Because companies want you thinking in months. Your future self has to live with the years. And maybe that's the most expensive part of all. Not the phone, not the car, not the sofa, but the invisible habit of measuring affordability 1 month at a time instead of one decision at a time. So the next time an EMI promises to make life easier, ask yourself this: are you buying the product? Or are you buying the feeling that the product is affordable?